What's going on, you guys? This is Trey from Blizzard Wrestling, and this is your AEW Revolution 2023 pay-per-view review. So we kick off the show at 0 Hour, a trios six-man tag team match. The Varsity Athletes and Ari Daivari, the Varsity Athletes Josh Woods and Tony Nese take on the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix, and Mark Briscoe, one half of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. They started off, Pentagon and Nese started for their teams and played some mind games with each other before engaging in any actual wrestling. The heels had the upper hand for the long time as Pentagon took the brunt of the offense for a good majority of the match. Both trios had fun spots sprinkled throughout the match, just the typical flippy stuff you would see these guys do on a regular basis. If anyone who watches the Lucha Bros is familiar with them, you know what to expect in this kind of match. They both got a great reaction from the San Francisco crowd, especially Mark Briscoe during one of the spot in the matches when he went on a rampage on the outside of the ring, taking everybody out, and the crowd was just on fire for him. The San Francisco crowd loved him. The California crowd was hot tonight, all throughout the show. The Lucha Bros don't really wear matching gear, I've noticed, and tonight they did. They were color coordinated in San Francisco 49er colors, and it was really cool. I think that gear was really cool. Pentagon and Phoenix always have cool gear. They just never correlate. For once they finally did, it made a really cool look for them. Mark Sterling, always good as ever. He was a great stooge. He knows how to play his role. He does it almost perfectly. He's a great asset to the roster. Whether or not he gets a main push or not is yet to be seen, but if they were to determine who should get a push and Mark Sterling was in the name of it, it's something that should be considered because Mark Sterling is very good at what he does as that, stooge heel that he's been playing for a while. Phoenix got a really ugly bump, I noticed, in a brainbuster from Josh Woods. It looked really gross. Obviously he's okay. He also had a really bad landing when he tried to hit Eric Conrad in the corner. It was kind of like a moment for me watching it live. Thankfully Phoenix is okay, but Lucha Bros and Mark Briscoe ended up getting the victory, and it was a great opening match. I believe that it was a great opening match. I believe it was on the main card. It could have worked. It was a better opener than Ricky Starks and Chris Jericho. Overall, I give this match a B+. Pretty great match. Nothing spectacular, just a standard match, but it was really good for what it was. Then the main show starts. We got the main show, and it comes out, and Ricky Starks takes on Chris Jericho with the JS banned from ringside. But there is some chicanery, just like JS always does. There is Sammy Guevara coming out to distract Ricky Starks, but Action Andretti comes out, and they have a little brawl on the outside of the ring. Meanwhile, the ref was distracted. Jericho hit Ricky Starks with the bat, goes for the Judas effect. Ricky Starks blocks it with a huge pop from the crowd, ends up pinning Jericho. Chris Jericho, typically, even though he's a main event star, has a lot of good opening matches. He's usually a show opener for a lot of matches. I was not a huge fan of this match. It was definitely not the worst match of the night. Let me make this clear, but it was not the best match. I gave this match a C+. Nothing really that crazy. Nothing really that spectacular. Personally, it wasn't my cup of tea. Up next, we have the final burial match. Now, for those who don't know what the final burial match is, basically a buried alive match with a casket. It was a really cool concept, a little different, a little unique. I wasn't expecting much out of it, but it was really good. Christian Cage came out, the heel that he is, wearing a turtleneck tank top. Personally, if that's what he's going for, then I guess that works, but to me, it looks stupid. Jungle Boy paying homage to HBK with those boots and the jeans, like in SummerSlam 02. Maybe it wasn't intentional, but that's just something that caught my attention. Christian Cage, being the heel that he always is, always talking to Jungle Boy's family, being the heel that he was, running his mouth, talking crap to his family. Typical heel stuff from Christian Cage, always good. They had both a casket and a burial plot, which confused me and some other fans. Is there two ways to win this match? It was never really explained too much. It was a very good match. The crowd helped a lot. It was a better match than I expected it to be, and it was a pretty good match. Jungle Boy threw Christian Cage into the casket, after hitting a concerto that was brutal. Looked like he absolutely murdered Christian Cage. A lot of fans are speculating this could be Christian Cage's final AEW match. That I do not know for sure, but it could potentially be something that happens. Will we see him in WWE? Will he retire? We never know. Up next, we have the House of Black versus the Elite in a trios championship match. And what a match this was. As everybody knows, I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but that is not why I'm not so much a fan of the Elite. I love Spot Fest wrestling. I truly do. I'm a huge mark. I like it. But sometimes it gets a little much. And if you have guys like this featured on a weekly basis doing these kind of spots, it gets kind of old. However, this match was actually really good. I enjoyed it so much. The House of Black came out in a really cool entrance. The gear was cool. Brody King's face paint was on par. All kinds of cool spots in that match. It was super cool. I enjoyed it a lot. The reign was cut kind of short for the Elite having the trios titles. I believe if Brawl wouldn't have happened, they would have had the titles since All Out until now. House of Black are your new trios champions. If I had to guess, Kenny Omega will be back in the singles division, and the Young Bucks will be in the tag division, which could need a very good revamping, in my opinion. Having the Young Bucks will pivotalize the large amount of credibility that the tag team division needs desperately. I give this match an A. This was a really good match, a really solid trios match. The fans were hyped the entire time. There was "This is awesome" chants multiple times throughout the match. It was something that the fans enjoyed. Up next, we have Britt Baker and accompanying Jamie Hayter to face off against Ruby Soho and Saraya in a triple threat match for the AEW Women's title. It is something that a lot of fans have not been too invested in, but however, I think this match delivered. A really good spot in the match. Britt Baker and Toni Storm took turns distracting the referee, which also almost led to Ruby Soho winning the title with the Destination Unknown. And that was a very good near fall for me. I thought Ruby Soho would have had it there. Jamie here ended up retaining the AEW Women's Championship with a roll-up of Ruby Soho. And then a post-match brawl happened. Soho dumped Saraya and Storm over the top rope and appeared to align with Hayter and Baker, then attacked Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter and aligned with Paige and Toni on Team X WWE Women. I give this match a B. Fantastic women's match. It delivered. It was a solid match. B. Up next, the Texas Death Match featuring Hangman Adam Page and Mr. Blade himself, Jon Moxley. The fans were electric for Jon Moxley as he walked out to the ring. A lot of the fans enjoyed every bit of it. It was an amazing contest. A lot of fans were into it. Hangman Adam Page walked up to Ghost Riders in the Sky by the Outlaws as a sign of things to come. There's red lighting. The match opened with the fans backing Hangman Adam Page after Hangman started the action by pouncing right on Moxley. It took less than 2 minutes for Jon Moxley to start bleeding, which, okay. Would have been a cool thing. Bloody wrestling has a very significance to it. But Moxley bleeds every other match he's in, if not every match he's in, so that gimmick is worn thin, in my opinion. I don't think he needs to bleed anymore. It means nothing if Jon Moxley bleeds. Just something that happens in a match and everyone looks forward to it. Not even looks forward to it, but just expects it, knows it's going to happen. Wasn't that cool? Although Jon Moxley did, after he started bleeding, was introduce a fork and make Hangman Adam Page bleed in a brutal spot. Hangman Adam Page goes face first to a chair cover with barbed wire, which was lodged in the corner. Hangman Page then took forever to set up a spot where he wrapped himself in barbed wire and performed an Oriha moonsault. It's worth the wait. It was a really cool spot. Took forever to set it up, but the execution was perfect. AEW cut the camera. A little cool moment here. AEW cuts the camera to the only woman who looked like she was watching, the only one left watching, and she looked horrified during this entire thing, which is a great visual there. Ingredients to this match were chairs covered in barbed wire board, chains, and bricks. Jon Moxley paying homage to Seth Rollins with that curb stomp into the brick. This led to people chanting Rollins' theme music, which, go Seth. Finish this match came when Hangman Adam Page forced Jon Moxley to tap out with a chain lynching in a Texas death match. Unbelievable match. Really good match. And this is coming from someone who's not a huge Hangman Adam Page fan, but he did phenomenal in this match. I give this match an A-. This was incredible. Up next, we have TNT title, Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Now, unfortunately, this match did not have much hype to it, and the match didn't deliver itself either. He did not receive the superstar reactions he was getting in 2022, even though the crowd was pretty fatigued from the match before. This has kind of been how Wardlow's been kind of going on since the whole MJF Double or Nothing drama, which, if you guys don't know, I can make a video about that in the future, coming soon. Now, Wardlow and victims were, like I said before, were victims of the death match before them, a fatigued crowd, and it was not much of a reaction. Will Hobbs actually received the biggest pop in the match, and he wasn't even in the match when he was shown on camera. However, he looked just as bored with the match as the rest of the Chase Center in San Francisco was, so take that with what you will. The second half of the match was salvaged in a way when Joe and Wardlow worked hard and the crowd slowly started to come around. Wardlow won with a rear naked choke submission while screaming "die." Fans seemed more shocked than anything. The announce team continued to put Will Hobbs over by saying Wardlow's TNT title reign could be one of the shortest reigns of all time. Give this match a D. Not that great of a match. No disrespect to those guys. Maybe the chemistry wasn't there. Maybe the fatigue crowd had something to do with it, but truthfully, the match was not that great. Up next, we have the tag team title match. The tag team fatal 4-way match between the Guns, the Acclaim, Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy with a new look with his black jeans matching Danhausen. Looked really good. The Gun Club continued the theme of 90s cosplaying by walking out with entrance gear similar to Shawn Michaels. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy are every bit as entertaining in the ring as they are on paper. One of the many highlights of the match was when the fans broke into a chant of San Fran Scissor. That was the best part of the match, in my opinion. Fans erupted for a face-off between Danhausen and Satnam, saying like it was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Then they popped even louder for a famous on Satnam, saying where Billy Gunn essentially sat on Singh's head. Aubrey Edwards was uncharacteristically booed after she stopped Max Caster from hitting Jeff Jarrett with a guitar. The match went to the finish immediately after Austin Gunn was cursed by Danhausen, but the Guns won anyway. It completely buried the curse. Post-match, Guns get on the mic and are interrupted by FTR with a huge pop. The FTR comes out and hits the Guns with Shatter Machine, and somewhere along the ending of the match, Dax Harwood gets busted open somehow. Don't know how that happened, but I give this match an A. What a fantastic tag team match. This show so far has been banger after banger after banger. And finally, it is time for your main event, that 60-man Iron Man match. Who is the Iron Man of AEW? Is it the Devil MJF or the Dragon Bryan Danielson? MJF received a great entrance where a violin choir played his theme music. He walked out in a devil's mask, similar to the one he walked out to it All Out. There were audible boos for Bryan Danielson, which even seemed to catch Danielson off guard. MJF was absolutely shredded. Revealed his physique. He dropped the belt while taking it off. He immediately improvised and barking at the crowd while they chanted, "You effed up." MJF is tremendously heel with the slow pacing and agonizing the crowd. The announcers continue to analyze MJF's motivation for being such a heel, and Taz lashed out at them for trying to be a psychiatrist on a wrestling show. Bryan Danielson won the first fall with the bazooka knee 25 minutes into the match. MJF low-blowed Bryan Danielson and was disqualified for it even though the bell rang. MJF promptly scored back-to-back pinfall wins. A much-needed scoreboard was displayed on the screen after. At least 20 seconds came off the clock for Bryce Remsburg to count to 9. MJF elicited a loud gasp to scream at Danielson, "You suck," as MJF went on his tirade. Taz played the role of pro wrestling psychiatrist by breaking down MJF's insecurities. MJF scored a third pinfall with a second rope power driver, and Danielson tied things up with an STF, so we were tied up here. By the 12-minute mark, this became the second match of the night with double juice, double bleed. Everyone's bleeding. MJF bled like Flair did in 1980s. AEW announcers praised this wrestling match. Was excellent, but the problem is that the storyline did not captivate fans to get here. With a better story, this could have been an iconic match. Instead, I feel like it only be remembered as another great one, which happens every week in pro wrestling. MJF tapped out right after the bell rang, and the match was ruled a draw. Tony Schiavone then relayed a message to Justin Roberts. Under Tony Khan, this match will be contested under sudden death rules. There will not be a draw. There must be a winner. MJF scored the final pinfall with Bryan Danielson tapped out to the LaBelle lock. I give this match an A+. What a phenomenal main event. MJF continues to do great work every single time he's on my television screen. He is an amazing athlete, an amazing competitor. Overall, I'd like to give this show an A. A great show. Definitely my third favorite AEW pay-per-view of all time. First being All Out 2021. Second being All Out 2022. Amazing, phenomenal show. It's definitely the best Revolution pay-per-view they've had. Every pay-per-view has been good except for 2021's main event, but we're not going to talk about that. 2020 was great. 2021 was even better. 2022 outplayed 2021, and 2023 blew all of them out of the water right away. This was a fantastic show. Tony Khan, for the guys who like to crap on Tony Khan, he does a lot of things wrong, but one thing he always does right is pay-per-views. That was an incredible match. That's your review, guys. That is my first review. I'll be doing every pay-per-view review, WWE pay-per-view review. I'm thinking of ideas what to do for content-wise for the show, because I'm not going to review every Raw, SmackDown, every Dynamite. That's just too tedious, and quite frankly, I don't have the time for that. But maybe there's something I can pull into that. New content will be coming your way, especially fantasy booking videos, and it's coming soon, in 2 weeks, Classic Pay-Per-View Review, my first ever Classic Pay-Per-View Review, which will be a recurring series on this channel. My first Classic Pay-Per-View Review will be Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor 2015, during WrestleMania weekend 2015. Be sure to tune in for that. You guys will love that video. I want to address something really quick before I get off here, guys. The lack of uploading from Dalton and I is not something we're doing intentionally. It is, unfortunately, our schedules do not always mix up together. I am accepted to pro wrestling school. I'm graduating in a few months and then going to pro wrestling school. I will still try to put as much content as I can. Dalton is also a senior in high school. He is graduating soon, going to MVNU. He has a lot. He's in theater. He's in a lot of things going on. We both do a lot of things. We're trying to keep up to date with everything going on. The best content we can put out for you guys, we will try to do our very best with that. Maybe some gaming content, some more podcasts, some more live streams, maybe even gaming content. As of right now, I'll probably be the most active member on this channel for a little while, which is okay. You will still see the rest of the Blizzard army. Do not worry about that. And you will see a lot of new stars and familiar faces in the foreseeable future. So if you guys please stick around, and you will see a lot of content coming your way. Thank you guys for watching. This is Trey from Blizzard Wrestling, and this is your AEW Revolution 2023 review.